Hi guys, sorry that I'm crying right now. Usually you guys see me posting really fun dance videos where I'm always smiling and dancing, and today I'm going to do something very, very, very different. For some of you guys that know, my grandparents both are Holocaust survivors. My grandma was in Auschwitz, and a dream of theirs always, I think, was for me to go visit. I feel like it's not gonna fully hit me until we're there, you know? Like, we keep talking about it, and we've been talking about it for a while, but I feel like it's not gonna fully hit me until we're there and actually, like, experiencing everything.
I mean, to be where your great-grandparents, my grandparents, perished in Auschwitz is just,
You know? I'm going to be taking you guys along this journey with me. I'm going to be visiting many places in Poland to learn about the Holocaust, but it's all leading up to going to Auschwitz. It's just really important nowadays for everyone to learn about this history, and as sad as it is and as terrible it is, we need to really remind people that this can never happen ever again. It's gonna be a very, very hard week, but I'm ready for it, and I know my grandparents are gonna be really proud of me for doing this. So, yeah, I love you guys. Bye. So I think I have to go meet Zach now. He's our tour guide. I know he's been doing this for years, educating people on the Holocaust and bringing people to Poland. I don't know what to expect, but I think I'm excited to meet him. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Morning.
Good morning. I'm Montana.
I'm Zach. How's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Okay, exciting to be doing this.
Very excited. I went through a bunch of different emotions this morning, but I feel like now I'm ready for it.
I'd want to open up our time a little bit together, as in almost why you came.
Yeah, so both my grandparents are Holocaust survivors. You know, my whole life they've always, shared their stories. And for them, it was really, really important to never forget and to continue to share what happened to all these people.
So it's a big responsibility. Should we see some stuff?
Let's do it.
75% of the Holocaust happened in Poland, and that's why I'm here. I need to see it, and I want you to share it with me.
This is the last synagogue that was built in Krakow.
Wow, it's so beautiful.
The world before this can't be the same as the world after this.
There were people who were willing to risk their own lives for others.
But this is the last place where your great-grandmother stood anyway.
I feel like this is gonna wake so many people up. I hope. I have this platform. It's now time for people to really hear their stories.
You're their worst nightmare. The building ahead is another synagogue. Literally every spot you're walking, this is Jewish Krakow. One of the things your grandfather talked about a lot was the relationship between him and his non-Jewish neighbors.
You know, everyone treated him respectfully, his neighbors. He was friends with them for years and years. And then the second the announcements happened, it was like a snap of a finger. Everyone just turned on him. Everyone started calling him names in the street and spitting on him and saying, "You dirty Jew," and people that he knew either his whole life or years that he would never would have expected that to happen to.
So I think that's that is the story. That's been the story of the Jewish people.
Zach and I walk around the Jewish quarter in Krakow and talk about how the rise in hatred of the Jews was a huge factor in the Holocaust and how it's on the rise again today.
I'm just fascinated about what it feels like for you to be telling this story
I remember like one of the first posts I like posted about my grandparents being Holocaust survivors. Like the comments I got were like, the Holocaust never existed. This is like so crazy that people can say the Holocaust never existed. Like me knowing my grandparents' stories my whole life, right? Just anti-Semitism, it's just still here. All these years after this insane tragedy, it's still around. And I'm hoping that by me posting this gets other people to be like, wow, I never saw it as this. Like, thank you for sharing like these stories. I never knew you were Jewish, never knew you were like your grandparents are Holocaust survivors. Let's like hope and pray that these like get seen by the world, right? And people realize why something like this can just never happen again. Wow, it's like really beautiful.
Yeah. And as you arrive like here at the edge of this forest, as we said, like you walk in, like forests are beautiful. Unfortunately, however like beautiful the nature, there's something else going on here.
So what was happening here?
We're gonna walk in and like pick up the story. July of 1942, so almost 80 years ago to the day that we're standing here. Most of the people who are arriving here are the elderly and the children, like the weak. Everything that you see from the end over there, all the way to the end, pretty much as far as the eye can see, is a ditch. They come, they're forced to undress, to walk up to the side of the pit, and then they face German soldiers. And one by one, the German soldiers are going to shoot them in a pit. And it fills up and fills up and fills up, which means that what you're looking at is probably in excess of 6,000 people buried in the forest, murdered for no reason other than they were born the way that you and me are. What do you feel in a place like this?
I'm like emotional because I know like my grandparents had stories where they saw, you know, their friends and family get killed right in front of them, and while you were like sharing that story, I was like trying to visualize like them right there into the pit. I don't know why I was doing that to myself. Now I like regret being like, oh, this walk is so beautiful because it was like what they were experiencing coming up here was not beautiful.
The idea of such a place, like the world before this can't be the same as the world after this.
Oh God, who is full of compassion.
Zach is right. We can't let the world be unchanged by all of these things that had happened. I want everyone to know this story because this story is my story, but now it belongs to you too, and we have to keep telling it. To honor those who were murdered here, I light a candle and say a prayer.
Places, and let us say, Amen.
I start to wonder about the Polish people who weren't Jews and the choices they made during the war. Were they on the side of the Nazis, or were they victims too? The answer is both.
I suppose we're going to spend a lot of time together, like in the darkness, and I want to try and like pull out like maybe one of the sparks of light that's here in the journey. Okay, there were millions of other people who weren't the Jews and who weren't the Germans. Like, where do they fit into the story?
Zach tells me the story of a family who lived here on this farm, the Ulma family. They weren't Jewish. They were a husband, a wife, and 6 children. At great risk to themselves, they take in a Jewish family of 8 and hide them for 2 years.
23rd of March, 1944, the German officers come up the path and they bring out the Jews who are here, and they bring out the Ulmas. They bring out Joseph, Victoria, their 6 children, and they shoot all 8 Jews. They then shoot Victoria and Joseph Ulma in front of their children, and then one by one they shoot the children.
They had been turned in by their Polish neighbors.
Everyone in the entire village knew that this is the price of saving a Jew.
Obviously when you're in that position, when it's like
your family. It's a crazy thing to have to decide. Like, do I risk my family or do I risk this family? I wonder what the statistics are of like the people that did save Jews.
The numbers of people who saved Jews recognized is about just over 27,000. This is certainly a family that made the world lighter, and even though their fate was this, our ability to like hold on to that is something that we're doing.
There were people who were really willing to risk their own lives for others, and I think that is just like the definition of a hero. Someone who like really saw that what these people were doing was wrong and was evil, and that they were willing to risk their lives to go against that. I think it's just so powerful.
The Alma story inspires me to want to be brave, to have the courage to stand up for those who don't have a voice, and for all of us to be the light in the midst of the darkness.
I'm trying to process 500,000 people. That's so many people.
In 11 months. Of like any of the extermination camps, Belzec is like the fastest.
And just on one singular train, they're just bringing people in.
Thousands on a daily basis. When I come here, I have to like talk in numbers. Like, if there's one number we associate with the Holocaust, it's 6 million, yeah? But the thing I don't like about 6 million, it wasn't the murder of 6 million. It was 6 million murders. And there's a big difference. Because the murder of 6 million sounds as if like...
one singular murder, yeah.
Yeah, someone magically came, clicked his fingers, and like, okay, 6 million people disappeared off the face of the earth.
There are 6 million different murders.
How do you possibly remember all of those people? So what I want to do together is head inside and see how we can do that.
The Belzec camp has a museum. I didn't even know this camp existed. And as we walk around, I see the physical remnants of the lives that were lost, and I start to feel overwhelmed. You hear the numbers, but when you start to see the faces, everything changes. Zach takes me to a picture of a Jewish man being tortured.
Pictures like this are taken right at the beginning of the war, 1939. And who's taking the photos a lot of the time? It's like an individual soldier who has a camera. How do we have them? Some of them were sent back to Germany as postcards, like to their wives and girlfriends, being like, we've come to Poland and we've found the Jews and this is what we're doing. How low have you had to go to like...
smile like that.
The basis, the foundations of what we're going to see here, the foundations of like an extermination camp look like this.
The foundations of the extermination camp look like this. It doesn't start with mass murder. It starts with laughing at someone else's pain. These small moments of hatred and evil would eventually add up to the big number that we remember, 6 million. It was hard to see that photo, but not nearly as hard as what happened next.
Like how are they able to get this many people in here and then just delete it? Do you know how many thousands of bodies are here?
In excess of 400,000 bodies buried in the mass graves on either side.
I just keep feeling like it's such a small space. Like how are they able to get this many people in here and then just delete it? Like it doesn't even seem like it's possible. In less than a year to 500,000 and then it's just gone. I can't like understand it really.
I really relate to that idea of like deleted.
Yeah.
Because that's such a modern like phrase, but that really is like what happened. Like you delete something and it's meant to be there without a trace. If you're okay too, I want to walk down that path.
Mm-hmm.
We were like in the light, and all of a sudden in the...
I just felt like the walls were like caving in on us.
Your grandmother, what was her name before she got married?
Steak.
Steg. I found Steg in Belzec from a town not far from your grandmother's town in Usharod. But the spot that we're standing, this is Yitzchak Steg, Medina Belzec, Mina Steg, Medina Belzec, Sarah Steg, Medina Belzec, Miriam Steg, Medina Belzec, Avram Steg, Medina Belzec. And I want you to have your families, I want you to have these because these are names of people. Your people.
Thank you for finding me.
I have this horrible realization that I lost more than just my great grandparents in the Holocaust. I lost many, many more relatives than I could have ever imagined. People that I will never get to know or love.
I feel like the whole entire trip has led up to this moment. I literally wouldn't exist if my grandma didn't survive from this terrible place. So we haven't even really entered yet, but like I already just like feel just like heavy.
I know it's like an immense task and an immense job for the two of you to walk in here, and I really don't envy you because it's hard. It's a big, big responsibility. Okay? Come.
Imagine how many people would have came from those people. Millions and millions and millions. Millions and millions were killed, but imagine the millions and millions that didn't have a life because of, like, just a crazy concept. Marcus Schmidmayer.
That's Sadie's dad.
Miriam, that was Sadie's mom.
That was Sadie's mom.
But my Jewish name is named after her.
Yeah.
These photos were taken around the time that Grandma gets here. And as you start to see the crowds of people, I don't know when we look at these photos if
she's in
if Grandma's here.
Right.
Who are they? Women, children. What can you tell me about these people without knowing anything else? What was their fate?
Death.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Death.
You want to know what the Holocaust is? It's not the black and white. It's a picture of people who went to their death and no one even knows their name.
Right. But that's unfortunately, I feel like, what the Nazis wanted to do. They wanted to strip them from their identity.
And you're looking at, in a sense, you're looking at success.
But also then we're here honoring them. So they probably assumed no one would ever honor them.
You're their worst nightmare.
I know this is going to affect me so deeply, but I am also knowing that it's affecting my mom so deeply, and the fact that we're here together. The last time, like, my grandma saw her mom is like a really intense feeling for me. It just makes me sad that my grandma had to go everything without her mom, because I know how much she would talk about her mom, how close they were. So I can't imagine, like, having my life without my mom.
Grandma's train, at the end of May or the beginning of June 1944, rolls along these tracks, and as you walk this walk, I want you to be with her. I want you to tell Montana what happened. I want you to tell, standing here, what took place on this spot.
I think that your great-grandma knew she was going to be marched to her death.
My mom tells me the horrific story of my 13-year-old grandma and her mother being put in the line for death. while her sister was put in the other line, right here on these tracks. My grandma tried to stay with her mom, but her mom had told her, whatever happens, you stay with your older sister.
That saved her life.
The line she left went right to the gas chambers.
I feel like I would have ran to the other line and said, take me with you. I wouldn't have been able to not go with you. I love you.
That like I always thought my responsibility was just like to make people like happy and dance and like show, that's like what my talent is, but it's now like way bigger than that.
This is where they arrived. It's the crematory itself. This is where human beings are finished. But this is the last place where your grandma's mother, your great-grandmother stood anyway. So I think that there are an enormous amount of souls of your family that are resting here. The Schmidmeyers, the Steggs, and sometimes I think to myself, like, there's a lot of candles we need to light, but sometimes one is enough. It takes one person to destroy the world, it takes one person to change the world.
I can't really describe how I'm feeling. Like a part of me feels like numb in a sense that I just went through like so many different emotions and feelings like this whole day and this whole trip to like get to this point that like we're done with it. I feel like this is gonna like wake so many people up. I hope. And to like be here and experience this is just like nothing you can explain. I feel very heavy, but I also feel like this is like what my grandparents like would have wanted this. They spoke at the schools, they wanted just education, people knowing about it, and like we did it. So like
Pretty good.
I need you all to tell this story with me. To stand up for what's right, to have courage, to call out any form of hatred, and to never forget.